current marine reserve that is so very special due to its biodiversity. Last year, TUNACONS, during 2021, hired Nave Consultores to carry out a proposal for an action plan for key points that were determined as priorities to support the conservation of the marine reserve. The work had the active participation of fishing guilds and their specialists. A brief analysis carried out by the consulting team that we hired as TUNACONS and that was participated with the fishing organizations exchanging criteria. And so first, one of the conclusions of this analysis is that there is still limited management of fishing cooperatives. Therefore, other association areas have been developed. We have two cooperatives, two associations. The first ones were created in 1984 before the boom of sea cucumber, and here we had the affiliation of several fishers, and due to different difficulties, changes in legislation, liquidity problems, difficulty to move forward the organizations, a third part of the registry of artisan fisheries, and that represents 1,100 artisan fishers recorded, but about 300 of them are working, and they're the most active ones in this record. In these records, we have associations in relation with the local fishing chain as well. Cooperatives have internal difficulties. They need to be strengthened from the fisher's point of view, whether through financial statements, internal problems of the payments of the fees of fishers, and this makes the cooperatives not to work as such, these credit unions not to work as such, and so we need to work on more on these fisheries associations. So there is no constant renovation either, so this is something that was analyzed and found in this brief analysis. Let's move forward. There are fisheries of a diversity of species, lobster, whitefish, which are the species caught here in Galapagos, but in accordance with the consultations made with fisheries, some of them are overexploited or they are not, their conditions is not known. There are fisheries where we know the state of the research. These fisheries are local, and so all of them have exports markets. Fisheries that are fully exploited are lobster, yellowfin tuna, and swordfish. And however, there is a lack of clear knowledge from the scientific and technical point of view of the state of situation of the populations that are caught here in the marine reserve, and then this diagnosis led us into what we're going to see later on, which is developing sustainability processes as we are doing in the continent, which is the example, and more than anything, the experience that we bring to the artisan sector here in Galapagos. So here we have regulations. Here we are talking about the regulation of long lining. There have been difficulties. We know that there are experimental projects here on this fishing gear. However, conclusions haven't been reached just yet. The organizing method hasn't been seen either. So in this case, this needs to agree with the archipelago, even though these conservation measures are there, they haven't really helped fishers to be able to grow. Actually, we've seen that conservation measures are harder every time. The closure of lobster now is almost 8 months. Before there were less. Sea cucumber is only open when it's recovered. Recently, we had a sea cucumber opening after almost 10 years. So we believe this fisheries management is not appropriate, and therefore technological innovation to prevent fishing sectors to be there will have other alternatives from the technological point of view. From the economy point of view, here we have the central bank that determine a certain of activities in Galapagos economy, and it's based in services. It constitutes 95% of the gross added value, which is the GDP of Galapagos, out of which the fishing sector represents only 3% in accordance with the central bank's data. It is not that I'm crying, but it's hot here. In this economic analysis about the gross added value in Galapagos and the services in Galapagos, Galapagos has grown as 2014, 2019, and then here the gross sector is this added value in the fishing sector in between 2014 and 2019 has decreased from 6 to 3%. So this is a sector that hasn't been able to grow, even though Galapagos has grown in other services and other activities. So this is an indicator that states that there is a problem there of generating or being more active in Galapagos economy, and this might be analyzed with other aspects that have a representation of the gross added value within Galapagos economy. However, we need to acknowledge that this is a strategic sector, and a strategic sector mainly in the most difficult moments as in the pandemic. In the pandemic, as you know, and we all know, we were here last year. The fishing activity actually helped feed the population, and they even generated work sources from the tourism sector. People working in tourism went to fishing because this was the only activity that was kept. It's not that there was a growth as a fishing sector because prices decreased, at least based on the consultant analysis. They were reduced to almost half, and there was an economic crisis. And even though the fishing sector demonstrated it was a strategic sector in the local economy, mainly to provide food and sources, work sources. Let's go further. Here we see that the tourism sector has had a constant growth of 6% yearly in average of the last 30 years with the data consulted by the consultant, with the exception of 2020. However, this is an activity that continues growing, and this demands services and other sorts of investments to take care of the impact of Galapagos within this sea pollution. Let's move forward, and here we also see the technical assistance generated by all of the bodies, consulting companies, NGOs, state agencies, are a source of services in the Galapagos economy, which is very important, and also the tourism sector. These are two very important dynamic sources that help the local economy of Galapagos. So based on these, the consultant prepared with all of the model sectors, and they are the ones in the MOU, a series of models that have different components leading towards sustainable fisheries, beginning with activities that have an impact, for example, reducing marine pollution and having a sustainability impact on artisan fisheries of Galapagos. These three processes were chosen based on the analysis carried out by guilds having these fats out of the island, so that we do not have them in the islands like that. So this is not a severe problem to be true. It's less than 1% of fats around Galapagos. However, we believe that we are going to find a strategy further coming into the islands. So This is important. So we need to work with artisan fishers because they know the areas where we can put together these campaigns to do this. So not in fisheries, but human activities here in the Galapagos Islands, which have had constant growth. I believe this is support for the recovery of these areas that might be affected by pollution. Pollution is the main problem of all oceans, not only here in Galapagos, in the continent and all over the planet. And it is the main problem that we need to face. And then the implementation of fisheries improvement projects that are models that we are developing in the continent and that are used for fisheries to be sustainable and to even have better economic performance when promoting a product coming from a sustainable source. Let's move forward, please. And now specifically speaking about fat collection to prevent affectation in coastal areas. Here we have a work scheme that we are going to put together. There were several analyses carried out to see where fats may be falling if they come within the islands. Just based on the current analysis, we carried out this brief analysis, and then the scheme proposed is working with a local coordinator that will get the information from a ship owner telling us that there is a fat, that there is danger of it getting close to the islands. This coordinator will work with a team of a fishing credit union, the one that's closer to this fat, to recover this fat, and it will bring it to land to a specific sector, as we will see later on, where the receiver here will undergo a full process for weighing and separating recycling materials, those that are not, so that they can be properly disposed. In coordination with the municipalities, where they actually have to be disposed of and generate payment to fishers for the service that they will be providing us for reducing the impact or possible impact that fats may have in the Galapagos Islands if they came here. So the process is here. We're going to have a technical secretariat in between TUNACONS and WWF so that we can carry out a follow-up together with the project coordinator, which will be a person here in Galapagos to implement all of this model design here. In the case of trash collection in the sea bottom, it's similar to what's happening with FATS, but working with fishers, credit unions to see where we can collect this trash. Thank you. Sea trash and also seeing recycling materials and those that need to be disposed of in coordination with municipalities, with the national park, so that we can put this scheme together. And this is going to be funded by a fund that we have put together with TUNACONS that loves fisheries and ATUNEC. So the most difficult project to put together is the development of projects for fisheries improvement called FIS, Fishery Improvements Projects, working on the lack of information and proper management. So we have detected that there are some fisheries, mainly in white fishing, that need a structure to get a sustainable approach. What is an FIP? Is a step-by-step approach to improve the sustainability of fisheries and reach a certification standard guaranteeing that they comply with scientific standards. This FIPs associate multiple stakeholders, public-private stakeholders, to work together in the development of the sustainability criteria. These FIP are also recognized by international consumption markets, and they should also be acknowledged locally and regionally so that the product consumed by fisheries coming from fisheries will be sustainable, and the work of fishing fleets will be acknowledged in the case we have fisheries that will have a possibility of getting certified through the FIP. The idea would be to take them into full assessment processes of the MSC to get certifications acknowledged by the market. These famous blue stamps are the most acknowledged ones internationally to determine that this species can get to certain markets. And actually these FIPs, you can see, are all over the world. There are models that are being used everywhere for artisan fisheries or industrial fisheries. We are also using that in the continent. TUNACONS is an example of progress in this sense. And so that you can see, these are models that are being developed everywhere in all continents in our planet. So in this FIP, we have everyone working together. In the case of TUNACONS, the small pelagic species puts together all stakeholders, and then we have action plans for each fisheries, and based on the stakeholders we get ideas, and together we put together actions to remediate the impacts detected to be remediated to reach sustainability objectives. The three principles managed based on this blue seal are looking for the sustainability of fish stocks that are the fishing targets. We look for minimal impact to the ecosystems, the impact that we're generating, and the remediations that we're able to develop. And we also contribute to the management of fisheries at national level and international level. In the case of TUNACONS, as we work with the IATTC, here we will be working with the National Park, the Fishing Secretariat, to be able to work and improve on local fisheries. So the idea is, as organizations, to look for key fisheries, to carry out scientific assessments, bearing in mind what the problems of each fisheries are, and then develop an action solutions action plan and working in these solutions in the medium and long term. Each of these fisheries has an information process which is necessary to work together with the national park. What are the current records regarding fisheries, scientific information, impact analysis regarding the ecosystem. This is something that needs to be put together by working as a team, by getting lots of patients and reaching a high scientific sustainability index to certify fisheries. The first thing that we need to do is review the management model for information of fisheries, and that's what we will do here with fisheries, having good traceability of fisheries. As we were discussing with the mayor here, it is important to have traceability, what happens at the fishing place to the consumption place, which can be local in Ecuador or exportation. So we need to put all of this together and to build, and this is a lot of work, but this is an important construction process. Just an example of what we're talking and that we want to bring as experience the fisheries of the Galapagos, everything that we're doing with long lining, with the small pelagic species. These are fisheries improvement projects, and TUNACONS has been one of the main examples of working with these topics. This is what we have worked on with an important ally, which is also here, Pablo, who represents the WWF, coming with us in all of these processes to work together and cooperate together in this fisheries improvement projects. We see here a little bit of what we developed. In the summary, you can access TUNACONS website and see all of the activities that we have developed for release of bycatch, release the living ones, reducing pollution with biodegradable fats, and several other activities we have developed. And actually, Ecuador is leading this worldwide. We're innovators actually in the management of fisheries with innovating solutions As the diagnosis was saying, here in Galapagos, there is management, there's no fishing innovation to look for production. This is something that we found. A little bit of what we're developing and that we have advanced on. These are 100% biodegradable fats. Those are eco fats. We have to work on this together with the EU. These are FIPs with proper results. Let's move forward, please. And well, it's not that we do everything. Our fisheries improvement project entails having stakeholders, and of course, we'll work together into developing a FIP, a good action plan with good objectives, and that's what we need to do here in Galapagos, to get all stakeholders together and so that we can actually get sustainable fisheries. In the proposal that we are setting, the idea is for those to sign those organizations who have signed MOUs. This MOU will be helping national authorities, the Vice Secretariat of Fisheries, municipalities, and local international organizations, and others, so that we can have good decision-making basis for working on fisheries. This is the governance model. Local coordination will be in charge of COPROPAC, in the hands of Grace Zunda. She is going to be our coordinator, and she is going to have all of this work. She's not going to work on this alone. Don't be frightened by that. But all of this work with all of the activities we've discussed before in this presentation, we have coordination here in Galapagos with the fishing cooperatives, with organizations, with people of Galapagos, so that working on these activities, you, dear fishers, will feel that we're benefiting not only fishers as such, but we're working on better preserving and conserving Galapagos. So this is challenging model, but it's feasible. When we began with TUNACONS 5 years ago, we saw lots of challenges on the road, several things that took time. We still need to get more time into working with goals, like, for example, the small pelagic species. That's a challenging process led by the Chamber of Fisheries. This is the second largest fisheries in Ecuador besides tuna. So this leads us to put together this process as this work. It's not easy, but we believe there is a good result in the continent. These good results, the idea is to share that with the fisheries of Galapagos. The design of the plan criteria has been worked on with everyone that signed the MOU with the WF supporting here. And as we've said, what we want to do is to have the conservation of the marine reserve to team up with all public institutions, with fishers, with organizations, and team up so that we can support in the reduction of negative impacts in the marine reserve. And the governance model of our project will be this way: the members who sign guilds and those who sign the MOU, we will have a technical secretariat that will be taken on by TUNACONS with the support of the WWF, that will coordinate with the coordinator, with Grace, with the credit units, COPROPAC, works, and main organizations here in all of the three processes that we've discussed: fat collection, sea trash, marine trash collection, and fisheries improvement projects. Those who would like to join us will be very welcome. International cooperation as well, the national park, the government board, they will all be welcome to work in this structure. And this is what I had. Sorry if it was too long. The idea is to make a summary of what we will do and to launch the sanction plan so that it can begin today in coordination with Galapagos fishing credit units, with the TUNACONS, Chamber of Fisheries, FENACOPEC, TUNACONS, and with the cooperation, and always getting together with public national institutions for this plan to be successful. Thank you very much, everyone.
Muchas gracias, ingeniero. Ahora sí,
thank you, engineer. Now we're going to begin with some short interventions.
darle la palabra a
Before
la
giving
señora
the floor
subsecretaria que está
to
con
the
nosotros,
Deputy Secretary who's here with
tenemos
us,
para
we
ustedes el
have for
saludo
you
del señor
the greetings
viceministro
of the
Andrés
Vice
Arens,
Minister,
que se
Andrés
excusa por no
Arens,
haber
who
podido llegar a
apologizes
las
for not
islas,
having been
pero
able to come
está
to the
al tanto de
islands,
todo
but
este
he's
proyecto
aware of all of this
que se
project
está llevando a cabo y de
that
hecho ha
is taking
participado
place
en
and has actually
diversas reuniones.
participated in different meetings.
Entonces ahora lo vamos a poner para que ustedes
So now
puedan
we're
escucharlo un
going
momento.
to play him for him to be listened for a moment.
Buenas tardes a todos los compañeros
Good
pescadores
afternoon to
artesanales
all
de
of
la
our
provincia de
artisan
Galápagos,
fishers
representada
in the Galapagos
en las
province,
5
represented in
asociaciones
the
pesqueras
5 fishing
presentes. Buenas
associations that are
tardes a
here.
los
Good
gremios
afternoon
atuneros
to the
industriales
industrial
que nos
tuna guilds
acompañan,
that are
a las
here with
organizaciones
us,
no
non-governmental
gubernamentales, con
organizations as
énfasis
well,
en
with
la
an
protección de
emphasis
la
in the
biodiversidad,
protection of
a
biodiversity.
las autoridades de las diferentes
The
instituciones
authorities in
públicas,
public
a la
institutions
Subsecretaría de
and
Recursos
the
Pesqueros, al Parque
Undersecretariat of
Nacional
Fishing Resources and the
Galápagos.
Galapagos National
Gracias
Park.
por estar
Thank you very
presentes en
much
este
for being
evento.
here in
El
this
día de hoy es un
event.
día muy
Today,
importante
it is a very
para el sector
important day
pesquero
for the fishery
y para la
sector and for
conservación.
conservation.
Se lanza por fin,
We are
después de
finally
mucho
launching
trabajo,
after
el
much
proyecto de
work the
recolección de
project
basura
of
marina
recollection
en las
of
zonas del
marine
Parque
waste in
Nacional
these
Galápagos.
areas of the Galapagos National Park.
Estimados dirigentes, gremios de pesquería, sector industrial,
Dear
sector
people
artesanal,
here,
es un
artisan
grato honor
sector,
para
industrial
tanto el
sector, it is
Viceministerio
an
de
honor
Acuacultura y
for the
Pesca
Vice
como para la
Minister of
Subsecretaría de Recursos
Aquaculture and Fisheries
Pesqueros
and the
estar hoy aquí.
Undersecretariat of Fishing
Poder
Resources to be
reconocer
here
la labor
today
que
to
está
be able to
realizando en la
acknowledge
actualidad
the work
TUNACONS
done
como
by
actor
TUNACONS as
importantísimo
an
del desarrollo
important
sostenible del
stakeholder of
país.
the sustainable
Siempre es
development of the
importante
country. It is
tanto
always
las alianzas, la
important
cooperación
in alliances
público-privada
to
que se
have
tiene que llevar a cabo.
public-private
Si bien
alliances
nosotros
here,
somos
even
el ente
though
rector y
we
regulador
are
de todo
the
el
regulating
emprendimiento productivo
authority of all of the
pesquero,
productive
siempre es
calendar
necesaria
in
la
fisheries. It is
participación,
always
el
necessary
apoyo,
to
el
have the participation,
empoderamiento del
support,
sector privado
and
como tal. Y
empowerment
qué mejor
of
si
the
TUNACONS lo ha logrado hacer
sector
y ha
as such,
combinado
social
esfuerzos tanto
sector,
del
and
sector
TUNACONS has
industrial
put
como del
together
artesanal,
industrial sector
ninguno
efforts
excluyente
with
del
the
otro. Y eso es
artisan
muy
sector.
importante
They do not
reconocer en
exclude
este
each other,
momento
and
como
it's
lo ha
important to
logrado
acknowledge
TUNACONS
this,
a través
as TUNACONS
de
has
todo este
done
proyecto de plan de
through all
mejoramiento
of these
pesquero.
projects for
Realmente, como
the
mencioné, nosotros sí implementamos
Fisheries Improvement
políticas,
Plan. We
regulaciones,
implement the
nosotros
policies,
brindamos
the regulations,
apoyo,
we
fomento
provide the
productivo,
support,
etcétera, e inclusive
productive
todavía tenemos pendiente muchísimo
funding,
por
and
hacer
also
por
we have a
Galapagos.
lot to
Entonces, qué
do for
mejor
Galapagos.
que recibir
What
este
better
apoyo
than actually
privado y
getting
que
this
con la
private
participación de
support
todos
and with the
los
participation
sectores
of
y de
all of the
todos los
sectors
involucrados
and of all
en este largo
stakeholders
camino que todavía
in
nos
this
queda por
long
hacer.
path that we still
A través
have
de
to
la
walk.
subsecretaría, nosotros
Through the
realmente queremos en este
Undersecretariat,
momento
we actually
hacer público
want
nuestro agradecimiento
to
al director de TUNACONS,
publicly thank the
a los
director of
representantes de la Cámara
TUNACONS,
de
the
Pesquería,
representatives
a
of the
CORPAC y a
fisheries
todas las cooperativas
chambers, CORPAC, and
que lo integran,
all of the credit
y a
units
ATUNEC,
comprising there,
perdóneme
and
Luigi,
ATUNEC, sorry Luigi,
y
ATUNEC.
ATUNEC
And
por siempre estar
ATUNEC
en el
for
apoyo de las
always
instituciones públicas que nos
support
encontramos
public
aquí presentes.
institutions that are right
Siempre, como
here.
mencionó, la
So
base
as
siempre
it
tiene
was
que
said
ser del sector
before,
privado. Siempre
the
ustedes
basis
son la
needs to
base y
come from the private sector.
nosotros
We
somos
are
las
the
manos
basis
ejecutoras.
and
Nosotros
we
estamos aquí para
you're the basis
acompañarlos
and we're the
a ambos
executing
sectores.
hand.
Como
We
dije,
will
todos vamos de la
accompany
mano.
both
Nosotros estamos
sectors.
aquí
We
para
all go by
acompañarlos,
hand and we're
para
here
brindar
to
asesoría
accompany
técnica,
you,
el
to
fomento
provide you
que
with
hemos tanto
technical
hemos debatido en
advisory,
estos días
the
y en las
promotion that we
anteriores
have
reuniones que hemos tenido
walked on and the
y
meetings that
pues
we have
tenemos que seguir
held
adelante.
need to be
Gracias por
carried
este
out
proyecto.
still. Thank you
Gracias
very
por
much for
luchar por
this
la
project.
conservación de
Thank you
Galápagos
for
y qué mejor
fighting
en
for
este
Galapagos
momento que nos
conservation, and
encontramos
what better
conformando
than
una
actually
reserva marina
being at
hermandad.
this moment where
Justamente todo
we
esto viene
have the
siguiendo
brotherhood,
de
the
la mano
Hermandad
y de
Marine
aquí en
Reserve. This
adelante
comes
ya
hand in hand,
tenemos
and
que
now from
continuarlo
now on, we
haciendo
need to
con el
continue
apoyo
working
público-privado,
together
como
with
dijimos.
public-private support,
Gracias.
just as we've done so far. Thank you very much.
Maximum volume.
En las 5 asociaciones
In
pesqueras
all 5 fishing
presentes, buenas tardes.
associations here, good afternoon.
Buenas tardes a todos los compañeros
Good
pescadores
afternoon
artesanales de
to
la
all
provincia
the
de Galápagos,
artisan fishers
representada
in the province of
en las
Galapagos,
5 asociaciones
represented in the
pesqueras
5
presentes. Buenas tardes a los
Fishing
gremios
associations here
atuneros
today.
industriales
Good
que
afternoon
nos
to the
acompañan,
industrial
a las organizaciones
guilds
no
here, those
gubernamentales
NGOs
con
who are
énfasis
here
en
with
la
us,
protección de la
emphasizing in the
biodiversidad,
protection of
a las
biodiversity,
autoridades de las diferentes
the different
instituciones
authorities
públicas,
of public
a la Subsecretaría de
institutions,
Recursos
the Deputy
Pesqueros y al
Secretariat of
Parque Nacional
Fisheries
Galápagos.
Resources and the Galapagos National
Gracias
Park.
por estar
Thank
presentes
you
en
for
este evento.
being here
El
at
día de
this
hoy es un día
event.
muy
Today is a very
para el
important
sector
day
pesquero
for the fishing
y para la
sector and
conservación.
for conservation.
Se lanza por fin, después de mucho trabajo,
We are
el
launching,
proyecto de
after lots of
recolección de
work,
basura
the
marina
project of marine
en las
waste
zonas
collection
del Parque
in the
Nacional
areas of the
Galápagos,
Galapagos National
iniciativa
Park,
planteada pues,
initiative
desde el
that
sector
was
privado,
stated from the private
con ayuda y
sector
cooperación
with the
de la
help and
Subsecretaría de
cooperation
Recursos Pesqueros,
of the
guiados
Undersecretariat
y
of Fishing
liderados
Resources,
por
guided and led
TUNACONS
by
y
TUNACONS and
WWF, y
WWF,
con estrecha interacción
and with a
con los
tight
pescadores
interaction
artesanales
with
de
our Galapagos
para
artisan
concretar y conseguir
fishers
un objetivo
to
de esta administración
make
pesquera, de la administración
feasible
pesquera
and to
del
reach
gobierno del encuentro.
this
Y es trabajar
fishing
todos
administration
juntos
of the
para
government of
conseguir
encountering to
pues,
government
la sostenibilidad de
working
los
all together to
recursos a
get the
través de
sustainability of
ecosistemas
resources
más limpios
through
y más
cleaner,
sanos, que permitan el
healthier
desarrollo de
ecosystems that
actividades
will allow us
productivas
to have the
sin
development of
sacrificar
productive activities
los
without
recursos del presente
sacrificing
y
the
del futuro del
resources
país, en especial en este
today
caso
and to
de
the
los recursos
future of the
pesqueros en
country,
un
in this case,
ecosistema tan
fishing
delicado y tan
resources, in
especial,
such
tan
a
único como el
delicate,
ecosistema
unique
de las Islas
ecosystem as that
Galápagos.
of the
Una
Galapagos
vez más,
Islands.
agradecer
Once
pues,
more, I
las
would like to
voluntades y las
thank the
interacciones
goodwill and
de todos los
interaction
presentes y
of all
participantes
those
en esta
people here
iniciativa,
and those
desearle
who
pues,
participate
éxito
in
a
this
este
initiative. I
proyecto,
want
muy
to
buenos
wish
augurios en sus
success to this
resultados
project,
y adelante
good
con
wishes
con
for
todas las
these
iniciativas
results,
para
and carry on
mejorar
with all of
las
the
condiciones de
initiatives to
trabajo de
improve
cada
on the
uno de los
conditions,
ecuatorianos.
work
Muchas
conditions of
gracias.
each and every one of us
Personas que están
Ecuadorians. Thank you very
conectadas
much
vía
for the
streaming y
people
en el
online
Zoom
via streaming
que se
and in
unen a
Zoom
este evento.
that have
Y
joined
le
us
damos la
in this
bienvenida
event.
a Dani
Our
Rueda, él
people
es
we
el
would like to
director del
welcome,
Parque
and we
Nacional
welcome
Galápagos, que
now
también tiene
Dani
unas palabras
Rueda,
para el
the
sector.
director of the Galapagos National Park, with some words
Muy
here
buenas
with
tardes con
us.
todos.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Agradecer la
First of all, I would
invitación.
like to
Guillermo,
thank you
Rafael,
for the
Luigi,
invitation, Guillermo,
Alessandro, muchas gracias
Rafael,
por la invitación.
Luigi, Sandro.
¿Cómo
Thank
no
you very
coincidir
much
cuando se
for the
trata de conservar los
invitation.
ecosistemas de
We
Galápagos,
coincide when we
cuando se
talk
trata de
about
conservar las especies
conserving
de Galápagos?
ecosystems and the
¿Cómo no
species of
podemos apoyar
Galapagos?
e
We
impulsar este
support
tipo de
each other and
iniciativas?
we
Por supuesto
promote
que
those initiatives
las
together,
regulaciones
of
de Galápagos
course.
son claras.
Galapagos
Todo lo que esté
regulations are
enmarcado
clear,
dentro del
everything
impulso al sector
framed
pesquero, que el sector
within
pesquero
promoting the
reconoce, perdón, Gabriela,
fisheries
y todos los
sector.
compañeros de Corpac que
Gabriela
están
and
aquí,
all of the
y de
people
cada una de
from
las
Corpac
cooperativas que
know
conforman
this, and of
Corpac,
all of the
cómo no
credit
impulsar
unions
estas iniciativas y
comprising Corpac.
apoyarlas.
We promote
Creo que
and
coincidimos
support
en la
these
presentación de
initiatives.
Guillermo en
We
todos los objetivos.
coincide
Y
in
por
all of the
supuesto que sí,
objectives of Guillermo's
los datos son
presentation. Of course,
importantes en el
yes,
tema de
data is
limpieza
important regarding
de basura oceánica, de limpieza
cleaning
costera. Tenemos un
ocean
proyecto de más de
waste,
15 años con conservación
coastal waste
internacional
as
que no
well. We
solo se
have
trata de
a
recolectar
project
la
for
basura,
more
sino de
than
poderla
15 years
clasificar
with
y
Conservation
estandarizar el tipo
International.
de
We
información que se
collected
tiene para tomar
trash and we
decisiones. No
classify
podemos pasarnos
it
tampoco
and
toda una vida
standardize it
recogiendo
to make
basura.
decisions. We
Hay que
cannot go
tener cambios
alive
en los modelos de
just
gestión y en los modelos
getting
productivos para en un futuro,
trash
ojalá
out.
cercano,
We need to
ya no
better
ingrese
our
más basura a
conditions so
Galápagos. Es un
that
reto muy
in the
duro, no
near
es fácil,
future,
pero con las
no
voluntades y
waste
con
will
el
come
compromiso
into
de todos,
Galapagos
sin
with
duda que lo
goodwill and
podemos
everyone's
hacer más
commitment.
posible.
We can make things
Como
feasible.
parque estamos listos
As
para
the
impulsar
park, we are
todos los
ready to
proyectos y
promote
procesos
all
que
of the
están,
projects
que Guillermo nos ha explicado.
that
Hay que sin duda
Guillermo
alguna
has
profundizar
explained.
más
Of
en los
course, we need
detalles
to
de
go
cada uno
deeper
de
in the
ellos.
details of
Creo que
each
la
one of
presentación
them.
es
I
muy
believe the
valiosa, pero
presentation is very
tengo muchas
valuable,
dudas
but
y
I have
preguntas, sobre
several
todo para
doubts and questions,
conocimiento
mainly
interno y de la
for
institución,
internal
pero vamos
knowledge
a estar
of
en
the
contacto para
institution, but we
profundizar
will
el
be in
conocimiento
touch to
y sin
go
duda cuente
deeper
con
in that
nosotros
matter,
en
and
todo lo que
please
sea
count on
conservar
us in
Galápagos,
whatever
los ecosistemas de Galápagos y sus especies.
having to do
Nosotros
with
siempre estaremos
Galapagos
para apoyarlos. Muchas
conservation
gracias.
is. We will always be here to support you. Thank you very much.
A continuación tenemos las
Next,
palabras de
we will have the
agradecimiento de Juan
words
Carlos Torres, él es
by
presidente
Juan
de
Carlos Torres,
Corpac,
President
la
of Corpac,
Corporación de Pescadores
the
Artesanales de
Corporation of
Galápagos,
Artisan
que
Fishers of
incluyen 3
Galapagos,
cooperativas y
including
2
3 credit
asociaciones.
unions and 2
Don Juan Carlos,
associations. Don Juan Carlos,
bienvenido.
welcome.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good Good
con todos los
afternoon,
presentes.
everyone.
Señor alcalde, buenas
Mr.
tardes.
Mayor, good afternoon.
Señorita Diana Zambrano, buenas tardes.
Mrs.
Con todos,
Dana
buenas
Zambrana,
tardes.
good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Compañeros
everyone.
pescadores,
dear fishers,
presentes y amigos
partners, hearing, friends
de todas las cooperativas de
of
pesca
all of the
Santa Cruz,
fishing cooperatives
Santa
of
Cruz,
Santa
Isabela y
Cruz,
Cristóbal.
Isabela, and San
Quiero
Cristobal.
decir y
I
resaltar
would like to
este
point
evento
out
con que la actividad pesquera
by saying that
comercial de
fishing,
Galápagos se
commercial
inició
fishing
con
in
los primeros
Galapagos began
pioneros y
with the first
asentamientos
pioneers,
humanos
the
en las
first
islas San
human
Cristóbal,
settlements in San
donde
Cristobal,
soy nativo.
from where
conocemos
I
la historial
am.
de-
So
redactada por el
we
historial
know the history
activo de la torre y por foto de
stated
la familia Cobos.
by the Cabos family.
Como constancia
So,
tenemos
as
la
evidence, we
ruina
have
¿cómo se llama? De la Pedrial
the
del
ruins
año 60
of the Pedregal
con la
of the
propiedad de la
60s
Asociación Nacional de
with the
Galápagos Songal
Galapagos Shingal
con
Association.
la creación de la nueva Reserva
With the
Marina Galápagos
creation
en el
of
año
the new Galapagos Marine
1988
Reserve
nos
in
dividieron al sector
1988,
industrial
we have a
y la
division in
pesca
between
artesanal por
the
ponerlo
industrial
a los
and
pescadores de
artisan
Galápagos
sectors,
mejores
and
de
now they
nuestra calidad de vida
proposed
con la
as
inclusividad con la pesca
improvement
artesanal
with
sostenible
inclusivity, with
en la Reserva
sustainable
Marina
artisan
Galápagos.
fisheries in the
Entre el
Marine
año-
Galapagos Reserve.
En el año
Now, in
1988 hasta la fecha
1988, to
ha
date,
sucedido lo siguientes.
the
La
following
flota pesquera
has
nacional
happened. The national
esfuerzos
fishing
propios,
fleet, due to
ha
their own
podido
efforts,
superarse,
have been able
siendo hoy un
to
ejemplo
work and
de
get
pesca
better, and now they
sostenible,
are a
teniendo
sustainable
influencia
fisheries
más
example,
allá de
and
la
they
zona
have influence
económica
beyond
exclusiva
the
nacional y
economic
insulares.
sector in the mainland and in the
Con
islands.
cambio, con la flota pesquera artesanal no
With the
ha
artisans
prohibido
fishing
superarnos
fleet,
por tantas
this
a
has
nuestras
not
embarcaciones
allowed
y
us
pescadores.
to do better.
Desde
Since
hace 24 años
24
la
years
creación de la
ago,
Reserva
since
Marina
the creation
Galápagos,
of the
más bien
Galapagos Marine Reserve,
hemos
actually,
descrecido
we have
una minoría.
stopped growing,
Hay una brecha
and
económica
there is
sostenible
an
y
economic
eventual
sustainable
con
gap
nuestra familia,
with our
no
families.
teniendo un nivel de vida
We do not have
sustentable,
a
que
sustainable
en contra los
livelihood
principios de desarrollo sostenible,
against the
porque
development
tenemos
principles,
significante
against
unidad
SDGs
en Galápagos.
in the
Por
activity
eso,
we have in
razón
Galapagos.
que
So
en
for
el
this
evento de la
reason,
tercera cumbre
in
pesquera
the event of
nacional
the
celebrada el
third
24
National
de enero
Summit
del 2021,
that we
decidimos firmar
celebrated
el
in
Memorandum of
2021, we
Entendimiento
decided to sign the MOU
con TUNACON,
with
WWF,
TUNACONS, WWF,
con Cámara Nacional de Pesquería
National
Nacional,
Fisheries
la
Chamber,
Asociación de Atuneros
the
del Ecuador, la
Association of
Federación
Tuna
Pesquera
Companies in
y la
Ecuador,
de Galápagos,
the
para juntos cuidar y
Galapagos
reducir la
Federation, Fishing
contaminación
Federation,
marina,
to reduce marine
fortaleciendo
pollution,
también
strengthening
a la capacidad de las cooperativas de
the
pesca de Galápagos.
capacities of fishing cooperatives in Galapagos.
Nosotros agradecemos
We
a los
thank
organizadores del evento
the
porque
organizers of this
con este
event,
primer
because
paso
with this
hemos
first step,
analizado el verdadero
we have actually
fortalecimiento del sector pesquero
dynamized the true
en manos de los
strengthening of the
quienes
fishing
sí tienen
sector in
experiencia
hands
en
of
pesca
those who
sostenible
do
y
have
que
experience in
queremos
sustainable
que quieren y queremos
fishing, and we
sostenibilidad
want
en futuras
sustainability
generaciones.
now
Gracias,
and
señores.
for future generations. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very
Esa fue la
much.
intervención de
That
don Juan
was the
Carlos Torres,
intervention of
presidente de
Mr. Juan
Corpar,
Carlos
la
Torres,
nueva
Corpac's
corporación
president,
que
the new
agrupa las
corporation,
5 cooperativas
grouping for the
de
5
las
credit
Islas Galápagos.
unions of the
Son
Galapagos Islands.
Promar,
We
Copesan,
have
Copaiza,
Promar,
Copropac y
Copaiza,
Azuarma
Copensan,
Pesbay. Las
Suaima
5
Bears
cooperativas
by
de
the
las
5
Islas Galápagos.
cooperatives of
Muchas
the
gracias por la
Galapagos
intervención.
Islands.
Así
Thank you very
damos
much
por
for your
concluida
intervention.
esta
This is how we
charla
conclude
de
this
introducción de la
introduction
iniciativa
talk
Cuidando
of
Galápagos.
the Taking
Agradecemos la
Care of
presencia de
Galapagos
todos los que
initiative. We
pudieron
thank the
llegar
presence of
a
everyone
este
that was
local
able
y
to
asimismo las
reach
personas
this
que están
place,
conectadas vía
and also
streaming
the
por
people
Facebook y YouTube
online
de la
through
transmisión
streaming
de
Facebook
TUNACONS
and
y Azul
YouTube
Sostenible, donde todos
and the
ustedes luego van a
TUNACONS
poder
and
ver
Azul
esta
Sostenible
grabación en caso de que quieran
streaming if
recordar
you
algo de
want
la
to see the
presentación.
recording,
Asimismo,
if
se va a
you
subir
want to take care
material
of the
didáctico a la
presentation, we
página
will
web
have
de
more
TUNACONS
didactic
y
material to
tal vez
uploaded
las
in
cooperativas y
TUNACONS
los gremios que
website,
son
and
parte de
probably
este memorándum
cooperatives
también
and guilds that
suban
are
esta
part of this
información
demo.
para que
You
esté
can
accesible y
upload
pública
this
para todos los
information
que
so
quieran
that it's
acceder ahí.
public and
Muchas
accessible for
gracias.
everyone wanted to
Tomen
get
asiento
it. So
todavía
now,
para una
please be
indicación
seated.
más.
Just one little thing more to tell you.